that's going on in my family, and I'm going to pull you over just a little tiny bit to get you more. There we go. All right, my friends. So if you're just joining, today is day 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. I am presenting a nice presentation card and gift card holder for a Starbucks card or a coffee bean and tea leaf card. I know probably it's going to be an item that many of us are gifting. So I have a special little card here. You can see I've got my inspiration with the little teacup, and it's 'Tis the Season. When you pull this portion up, you are going to see there's a perfect place. There's my Christmas greeting and my gift card holder spot. Fold that back up, and you can also open it up and present your greeting for Merry Christmas or your annual wishes. So that's what we are creating. I think it's a pretty little card. It is based on my spammer card. So that special fun fold was turned into another fun fold. So let's get started. I'll go through the supplies that we're using and the tools. Again, having the basics at the ready is what's getting me through the entire crafty season here. So my stamp sets, the cup of tea, and it's got the little, obviously the teacups, but some of the foliage and the pretty flowers. This is a bundle, which means I've got lots of dies to work with, and these dies will work with the mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, but I do have other parts on the project where you need the standard size machine. So that's my basic stamp set. My go-to greetings is the Christmas to Remember, and I'm using this, May This Be a Christmas to Remember, and the 'Tis the Season, and the Merry Christmas. So lots of options in this go-to greetings. My paper again is the Tea Boutique. So lots of pretty teacups, and I love the colors in here. The colors in the suite are or include the Sweet Sorbet, which is an in color. However, I am using Poppy Parade, and those are my inks, Poppy Parade and Garden Green. So that's what I'm stamping with there. Let's see. The other die set I'm using, and this is the reason you need the standard size Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, are the Scallop Contours dies. I am using one of the scalloped rectangles, so third one in. It's got the nice stitching on it. That is being used on the project. I'm embellishing with the Glassy Dots assortment and my favorite white crinkled seam binding. This is super fun because you can create any color that you want or need. So those are my supplies. In particular, here we go. If you want to make this gift card holder, these are the papers and measurements that you're going to need. Starting with my Poppy Parade, it is the standard card size, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And just as always, I need my basic tools, my bone folder. I'm going to go ahead and fold this down and put it aside for now. So I've got my Poppy Parade. I also need a second piece of Poppy Parade. This one measures 8 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to be scoring this in just a minute. I also need lots of white, so I need an insert for the card since it's a colored card base. I've got 5 1/4 by 4. I need another piece that measures, let's see, I might need to measure this out because I don't want to steer you wrong. It is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. This is also one of the inserts for the gift card holder. I need that stitched scalloped rectangle in basic white. I need a scrap to stamp with. I've already pre-cut a Poppy Parade teacup from the bundle, and my DSP from the Tea Boutique. This is the pattern I'm taking from the paper pack. It measures 5 1/4 by 4. I need another scrap in a different pattern, and this actually is Sweet Sorbet, but as I said, I'm going with the brighter Poppy Parade since it's a Christmas card. This measures 3 1/4 by 2. I need a tiny little sliver of this paper. It's actually the back side of my larger paper, and I'm using the one that has the petal pink gingham. It measures 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/2 across. And then I have a pre-made bow. This is a double bow that I created with my favorite tool, the Bow Easy Bow Maker. So that's pre-done. You're not gonna watch me try to tie a bow. Sometimes it's stressful when I'm being watched. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp. And so I'm gonna bring in my scrap to stamp. And I'm using Poppy Parade. This is basic white to stamp on. I have my stamps already mounted. So I'm going to start off with the 'Tis the Season, and it's on a block H. Sometimes you can get away with one block for all of the stamps, but it is nicer to have one that's better sized. And I'm just going to stamp that up at the, this is up at the top of the scrap. It's going to be hand snipped. So I've got that, and I'm gonna get rid of that. And on my 3 3/4 by 2 1/2, I'm going to stamp my insert greeting. This goes on the gift card portion, and I'm stamping the sentiment that says, "May this be a Christmas to remember," but I'm also going to stamp a little bit of greenery and some flowers. And I'm going to do the greenery and the flowers first. And that happens to come from the cup of tea set. This is photopolymer. So in order to get a nice inking, I am going to want to use my piercing mat. So I'm going to bring in my piercing mat to get a better impression. This is in Garden Green. And this is going to go, and I find I get better coverage if I tap, 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 as opposed to just smushing it into the ink pad. This is going to go down at the bottom of this little piece of basic white. And since I have this stamp out, I know that I'm also going to be die cutting one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this also on my scrap. And you're going to see, here are my notes. I need the greeting, I need the spray of leaves, so I can put that aside. I'm also going to need 2 of the larger leaves. And these are going to be die cuts. So there, I've got that. So on my notes, the next thing I need are the flowers. So, and I'm going to be doing those twice as well. So let me get organized here. So these little flowers, it looks like a strange arrangement here, but I'm finding you could either die cut these flowers or you can stamp them directly on that little field of greenery. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to want to die cut those. And then here, I'm going to stamp them in the arrangement of leaves. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting. This one takes a little bit of orchestrating. That's why I'm doing these in this sequence. So I'm going to put that right there. So there. Then I want to add my flowers. However, I don't want my flowers, because of the positioning of the flowers, I don't want them to interrupt my sentiment. So I'm using a little Post-it note to cover that up. So masking, but very elementary way to mask. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring these pretty flowers up in here. Let's see, these come in here. And this is why you're going to see one is reaching out it's actually landing. See, that got covered up there, and now I'm going to remove that. And so I didn't interrupt my sentiment there. Let's check here. Just checking for comments in case anybody has any questions at this point, any measurements. So this is going to go on the insert of my gift card holder, the front layer of the card. So I've done that. I've done my stamping, I believe. I did everything on my scrap. I have one more thing, and that's the insert of the card on basic white. I'm going to stamp the greeting, Merry Christmas, in Poppy Parade. And I don't really need to be on a piercing mat. In fact, I'm going to eliminate it because I don't want to goof this up. Now, the reason I like to stamp before I adhere is in the event I do goof it up, I can give it a second try on the flip side. And there we go. Now, having said that, I do want to add a little bit more color here. So let me bring back my piercing mat and my leaf from the stamp set. I'm going to use my garden green. Just bring in a little bit of color. I've still got plenty of space on the insert to write the greeting or the annual message, since for most of us, this will be the once a year communication with some of our friends and family. So we have lots of space to write a greeting. Now, I'm all stamped out. Okay, so I'm going to start by adhering some of these things and scoring just to eliminate before I start losing things. So I'm done with that. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring back my card base. I want to make sure nothing smudges. So I'm going to burnish that again with my bone folder. And I'm going to bring in my designer series paper. This gets flat adhered onto the front of the card. Oops, actually did the wrong side of my adhesive. And this is a hard call because I do like this this side, the petal pink, the gingham. And let's look, I've got a little clog in there. I can usually tell when I'm pulling that clog out. There we go. Try it one more. There we go. Much better. And I'm using just a little trail, not a lot. I don't want this oozing out on me. Bring it over. I'm going to get like 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Burnish that down so it sticks. There we go. Now let's see what else I can adhere. At this point, not a lot because I need to do some scoring as well. Oh, I could do my insert. Let's do that. And again, I just try to eliminate some of the pieces I can before I start losing things, because that's time consuming. Right through here. Anybody out there giving Starbucks cards or Coffee Bean? I'm sure there's other coffee shop cards. I think it's a popular gift because for people that it's hard to shop for, most of us enjoy a treat, cup of coffee or specialty coffee once in a while. All right, so I've eliminated that. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm going to bring back in the Poppy Parade that measures 8 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to bring in my stamping trimmer. So I need another one of my basic tools. And I'm going to score. So I'm going to move the cutting blade out of the way right away. Lift the arm, and the first score line I need is at 2 3/4. So there's the 2 coming up to the 3, that nice big block. I think quarters are a friendly number. When we start to get to the 8ths and the 16ths, it gets a little bit harder. So then I'm going to push up to 5 1/2. So right in the middle between 5 and 6, right there. So now I've scored. I can eliminate my trimmer, and I'm now going to burnish. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to use that valley fold on the outside. This is the first fold, and I noticed I didn't do a good job on cutting. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of fraying there. So my solution is my sanding block. I'm going to take it and fix that before I go any further. This is a Stampin' Up! Sanding block from several years ago. If you don't have one, you could always use a nail file, emery board. It works as well. And it just eliminates those little frayed edges. There we go. Okay, so one fold, one burnish. Now I'm going to do a Z-fold. So the next one goes opposite direction. So one up, this one's going to go back. And this is the point where I can align and force the paper to fold where I want it to. There we go. All right. Now, I could write on that because I'm going to be covering this up anyway. I'm going to take that contour scallop with the stitching, and this is going to be flat adhered. Right in here. Center it. And then burnish it. I'm going to flip it over to burnish. All right, so then when I open, I pull that open, I'm going to get my next message. May this be a Christmas to remember, and this as well gets flat adhered. And as with any of the other projects that I'm sharing during the 12 days of Christmas, you could easily substitute another stamp set, different paper. Just customize it to your needs. I love the Poppy Parade for Christmas. It's a nice bright green with the garden green. Those are the traditional colors. Now I'm going to take my DSP, measures 3 3/4 by 2, and I'm going to put a notch in here since this is for a gift card holder. And hello, Marcia. Nice of you to join. No worries about being late. I know 4 o'clock's or whatever the hour is. It's kind of like a hard hour. For some, it's the dinner hour. All right, so I'm going to just notch it with a 1 1/4 inch circle. Hopefully you have that basic punch. Stampin' Up's not carrying those circle punches right now, but they are basics that you always want to have. Now, what I'm going to say is this width is just barely enough to accommodate your gift card holders. So when I say to put the adhesive right up along the edge border, I mean like right up along the edge on the sides. Those are the critical points. Because it's a gift card holder, we don't want to put any adhesive on that notched edge. And then the bottom, not as critical, that you're right along the edge. And the other side does need to be right up there. This is going to get centered at the bottom, down here. And you could use tear and tape. I think that the liquid glue is better because the tear and tape is a little bit wide. You have to snip it down because this is really a tight accommodation. So before we would put a card in, you need to let that set so that it doesn't just pop off. So this is going to go onto the card front. It will go right in here, and I'm going to go ahead and add it. And what you want to make sure is that it's open at the top because this Z-fold comes up this way. So this is going to be liquid glue, and again, this could be tear and tape, but you do want an aggressive adhesive. You don't want it to fall off the card front, and it is kind of thick. It's very weighty. So having said that, this card, if you're mailing it, would need additional postage, I would think, probably an extra ounce. I think it should still qualify for the the width of a standard letter. All right, and I'm burnishing down. Use my bone folder to finish that up. And it's coming along. We need to decorate the front. So we've got the holder in position there. And then when you open it up, you can write your note and sign. Let's take care of our die cutting so we can decorate. So I'm going to put that aside for now. These can pass through the mini, so I'm going to bring the mini in. And I should have gotten my silicone mat. Sometimes the silicone mat helps to keep the mini in place. I'm going to bring in my plates, and I have my gray plate. Hopefully I've got the right one. 3. I'm kind of wondering if I do have the right one, because one of them is a lot friendlier than the cutting pad, but we'll see. Let's see if that's going to work. No, I can't cut on that. Let me try this. I'm going to go back to my cutting pad 2. Oh, here's what I need. There's 1, 2. I'm going to try it with the gray. I'm indecisive today. I'm going to go with the gray. Sometimes it's less resistance when we use the gray. And I need my dies. And I've got them stored right inside the stamp set. So I'm going to need the leaf and the spray and the flowers. And I'm going to bring in some washi tape. And finish up in here. And I'm going to start with bring that in so you can see a little bit better, with my little field of greenery here. And secure that down so it's not moving around. And I'm going to skip one of the leaves. It looks like I'm going to have to do 2 passes. Bring that in. And some more washi tape. How do you feel about the mini? Are you liking this? Anybody have the mini, first of all? I use both. I love having the mini right at the tabletop. The standard machine is set up at a different station, so I like having this nearby. And I'm going to put my plate number 2 on, and let's crank through. Hopefully I've got the right plates in here. It's not quite going through. Nope, I'm going to switch out my plate. This is probably the only inconvenience of the mini, is the staggering has to be right. And right now it's not going through. Let's see. Usually it likes the top plate jutted out a little bit, or many others' solution is to use the gray plate. Hello, Phyllis. And Phyllis is joining us and meeting up with Marcia. That's kind of fun. All right, so I've got 2 die cuts here. And I still, so today's day 6. I still have, 6 more days to go. I should finish up next Friday with the 12 days. And I still have loads more to craft, so I've got plenty more to share with you. All right, now I'm going to bring in my next leaf. A lot of my Christmas prep has been for my team meeting, which is this weekend. And then I'll move into prepping for my monthly live in-person club, which is next week. And then it's kind of like coasting, because I just have a few odds and ends to do. I have cookie exchanges to prep for. That's kind of fun. All right, so I've got 2 more dies to cut. This is a very fun front Z-fold gift card holder and Christmas card, so it kind of does double duty. And I'm still struggling to get that through. There we go. All right, hopefully I'm not losing any of my cuts. There. I'm going to move the mini out of the way. And my plates. And the dies I can put away. And the sooner I put them away, the better. Poke that out. No, I need my piercing tool to poke that out. There we go. I find if I don't put it away right away and it lies around, it's easily going to get lost. And I'm heartbroken when one die gets lost from a set. All right, so I've got 2 of those. Let's put our dies away. So I should have 1 more right there. And I need to get my little flowers off the cutting plate. And then the last thing I need to do, so I'm kind of pushing all my things in, is hand snip this label. So I'm going to bring in my paper snips. And I am going to leave a slight white border around that. 'Tis the season. Right. And just rounding it out and trimming it down. All right, there's all my pieces to decorate. I'm going to put that there. There, bring my card back in. And let's start decorating. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach that little field of greenery. And I'm using my liquid glue, just putting its tiny amount down. And I'm going to bring the cup up to position it where I want it. There. And I'm going to put a dimensional on one of these leaves. So hopefully I got some handy here. Right there. I'm just going to put it right on the front and layer this up. So I want it right in there. And then the second one, I'm going to, it's flatted here in position at a little angle. So that's how I'm building my focal point. Phyllis, you're absolutely right. This card design would be great too for birthday cards, right? Mother's Day cards. So lots of times when we're gifting gift cards or a cash check, it's a nice little design and it's kind of special. So it's a little bit more unusual than just your basic handmade card. Not that a handmade card is ever basic, it's always special, but this one's got obviously a lot of effort and time built into it. All right, next I'm going to add my cute little flowers, and I do that. I'm just going to put one little drop of glue in various places. And I like my take your pick to pick up the little flower and put that right down. My fingers get in the way sometimes, so this take your pick is the perfect solution to getting in there. And then one more right in here. All right, so there's my nice little cup. To mount this, I'm onto the focal point. I'm going to put dimensionals, but I'm not going to double stack. I'm just going to put it right on the cup. And I want it nice and supported. This is going to go onto our front fold. Before I do that, I need to bring in a little resting area for the teacup. So this is where that 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inch DSP comes in. I'm going to flip it over. I want to use this gingham side, so I'm going to use my lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. So how are you doing tonight? The evening here in California is kind of nice. It's chilly but dry, and it's kind of wintry, which is nice. So I'm going to push that all the way in and just pop that edge off. The same with the other one. Oh, and I just noticed I'm using a different edge on the punch. I don't think it's critical. You could pick your favorite. There we go. And this one's going to be flat adhered. And this is just kind of like your little resting area, your shelf or your tabletop for your teacup, so it's not floating in the air. And I'm going to put that right into that scalloped rectangle. And now I'm ready to add the teacup. So flipping that over, and I just want to make sure that I'm within the perimeter of the, I did remove those, that I'm within the perimeter of the card, because I don't want to have to use a bigger envelope. And that comes in right there. And then next I'm going to add my greeting, my 'Tis the Season. I'm going to put a dimensional on the left side, and I think just barely fits the standard size. And to the far right, I'm going to put just a little drop of glue so it's secured down. Bring that in and bring it out just a little bit more. There we go. All right, it's coming along. I want to add my nice little ribbon, and this was pre-tied using my Bow Easy Bow Maker. It's a double ribbon, and I like to use mini glue dots to adhere my ribbon, and I never touch the glue dot. I just take the bow right up to the glue dot tape. Go ahead and secure that down. Looks like the little ribbon tails are a tad long, so I'm going to trim those down a little bit more. And one more thing, let's add a little pop of pizzazz. I'm going to bring in some more color, and I like the yellow in the glossy dots assortment, and I like that this has 2 sizes to pick from, because we are going to use the smaller dots. And I think my favorites must have been the yellow at one point, because I've combined 2 packets together. So I've used a lot of them. And let's see if I can come in and get the smaller ones. And these are going to go right in the center of the little flowers, or the bigger flowers there. Get another small one. There you go. All right. So here is my special Christmas card and gift card holder in one, created with the Cup of Tea and Tea Boutique suite. So non-Christmas stamp set, non-Christmas papers, still has that nice little wintry feel toward it, and it will accommodate the gift card. You can have a greeting there and then open it up. Whoops. And message and sign your card. So there you go. There is day 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. And if you need to catch any of the measurements, just watch the replay, or I will upload shortly to YouTube so that you can zip right over to the project. All right, I will be back tomorrow for another project, day 7 of the 12 days of Christmas. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you share it with someone else you think might enjoy it. And be sure to like or comment, and hopefully you'll follow the page so you'll get, it'll come up in your feed. And then also there are many more tutorials over on YouTube. So thanks so much for joining me. I will see you tomorrow.